Whoa, it sounds like the controversial DJ star is back and he just may have a lawsuit coming for some people. Clear Channel, Revolt TV, iHeartMedia. And it's all over some comments that the game made on the Breakfast Club morning show. To make a long story short, what the game said in the Breakfast Club interview was that he was going to break Star's jaw when he saw him. And as we all know, the game has been in a lot of trouble recently. He punched an undercover cop in the face on a basketball court, and he claimed that the reason why he did it is because the undercover cop said something to the effect of he was going to shoot the game, so he figured his fucking kung fu fist of fury would be more deadly than a bullet. Okay, Bruce Leroy, I don't believe you. But anyways, that's what he actually said, that his fist are more deadly than a fucking bullet. Or at least that's what he implied by punching the undercover cop. He got caught on camera doing this shit. And after that, one of the girls in his reality TV show, she got game, accused him of sexual assault, which was, of course, Priscilla Rainey. And let me see, there was all sorts of other shit. There were some people who came to his house to serve him some papers. They claimed he assaulted them. I think it was a photographer and whoever was trying to serve him the papers. I think it was from the cop assault. The people that were basically coming there to serve him the papers or whatever. And then he allegedly assaulted them. And I think there's a lawsuit pending for that too. Anyway, the point is the game is allegedly worth like $30 million, but he's always getting himself into trouble. 40 Glock, the rapper that he videotaped himself punching a few years ago, he had a lawsuit against the game and he wanted some millions and whatnot. Anyways, the game is always getting into some trouble. And, I hate to break it down to you young punks out there who are from the streets or pretend you're from the streets and you're like, oh, but game is a blood and oh, he'll do this and his clique will do that. Let me tell you something, you little snot-nosed pussies who think that the streets are real. You have a better chance of surviving a beef with the game than you have with Star. Anybody who's just kind of looking for trouble has to prove they're gangster. You know what I mean? And if you watch the video that I posted on my blog of Star smoking a cigar on his porch and talking about this whole ordeal, I can assure you that Star's not somebody you want to fuck with. It's a certain way that people who are unfuckwittable, rather people, you can fuck with anybody, but people who you should just leave the fuck alone, who are really about the shit. It's a certain way that they speak, a certain way that they carry themselves. And just like what was in The Art of War, the book talked about things like avoiding war at all costs. And the things you have to understand is this: a real general does not want to go to war. The best way to win a war is to not go to war at all. And I'm not, trying to say that the game is soft or anything like that. I think that he's a real hard street dude. I mean, he's out here just fucking with people. I think he's really, really lucky that, he's, as they say, either not dead or in jail. Because it's like he's a magnet for trouble, a magnet for controversy. You got to be careful about doing shit like that, because sooner or later you're going to run into that one person that's not about the bullshit. Either they're going to be more gangster than you, or they're going to have the legal connections to just sue you or lock you up or whatever. And, that's, of course, worst case scenario is when the law gets involved. Because what are you going to do then? Even your little gangsters that you young boys that are watching this video, who you idolize, who you little clowns idolize, gangsters run from the police. They're scared of the police. So just remember that. Anyway, in the video that Star posted, he talked about everything from how when he went to go talk to Jimmy Henchman, he had a couple of guns on him and a gunman with him, and how Jimmy Henchman had like his 9 dudes with him, and how they had this intense conversation. And at the end of the day, basically they had to give each other dap and walk away cool without, getting into the bullshit, because neither one of them were here for that. You know what I mean? Of course, Jimmy Henchman is in jail, Star isn't. And I just wanted to say this because a lot of people, they respect Jimmy Henchman's gangster, and a lot of people respect Suge Knight's gangster, and they respect the game's gangster. Just remember this about when you're dealing with gangsters. There's different levels to this shit. Some people go to jail, some people don't. I just want you to think about that. For all of you young, stupid motherfucking boys that are watching this video, that leave stupid comments in my comment section threatening me and talking about how, oh, you said this about this one, and you said this about that one, and they'll come get you, Mr. Blogger guy. Just remember this, little punk pussies. Some people go to jail, some people don't. Just think about that. I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, back to what Star said in his video. What he said was that he had issues with Clear Channel. If you don't know who Clear Channel is, look them up. I mean, basically, Clear Channel equals the fucking radio. Okay? Now, what Star did was just like several years ago. I mean, I knew who Star was when him and Buck Wild used to write articles in the back of the Source magazine. You know, I grew up off of Star and Buck Wild. You could say Wendy Williams, all of those people. But basically, Star has some issues with Clear Channel because he dissed DJ Envy and his child. And the station wanted him to apologize. They also wanted him to play hip hop music when he was like, no, fuck that. I want to play rock music. You know, he'll play some hip hop, but he wanted to mix it up. But he's more of a rock and roll type of person. And as a DJ personality, he's like, well, this is what I want to do when I'm on the radio. They wanted him to apologize for what he said about DJ Envy. And they wanted him to play more hip hop. And basically, I guess, leave the rock and roll shit alone. Like, what the fuck are you doing? This is an urban station or whatever. Whatever it was that they told him at the time. And as Star put it, he gave DJ Envy his dick to suck then, and he still gives him his dick to suck, which I think he should have said, you know, no homo. No, but seriously, I don't think he should have said that. You never offer a man your dick or your ass. Unless you're into some fuddy-duddy shit, which of course Star isn't. He's not a fuck boy. But at the end of the day, you should never say that. Now, that's one thing I disagree with that Star said. You know, there's only been a couple times or so, maybe a few times, that I've disagreed with Star in his career. You know, for the most part, I'm usually like, hey, you know, I support most of what he says, even when I disagree with him, because, you know, I think that Star is one of the most important DJs ever. But anyways, basically, the radio station wanted him to apologize to Envy and play, I guess, like all rap music or whatever. And they ended up firing him that day because he didn't want to do either. And he spent $259,000 in like legal fees fighting with Clear Channel. And he said that they owed him $2.7 million out of his $13.9 million deal. In other words, they had almost a $14 million deal, and they owed him about $3 more million. Isn't that interesting? So that just goes to show you where he was in his career, that he was getting paid that many millions of dollars to be a radio DJ, to be a host. I mean, he was that good. I mean, he still is. I haven't really watched the Shot 97 shit recently because I've just been so busy, and I got to really tune in because I used to enjoy listening to Star and Buck Wild and their crazy antics. So I'm definitely going to have to check this out soon. Anyways, the whole point of me making this video is this. Star wants to know from us, the fans and listeners and spectators, whether or not he should sue them, you know, these companies that basically let the game communicate threats about breaking his jaw when he sees him on the radio. Now, what you got to understand about it is this. If the game has all of these pending lawsuits and whatnot, and he's supposed to be this gang member, street dude and whatnot, why the fuck would you ever come on the radio and threaten somebody and then have potentially millions of people hearing the threat? That's just fucking retarded. You have all of these different lawsuits going. It doesn't matter how bipolar or how crazy you may be. And I'm not just talking about the game. I'm talking about somebody in general. Anybody in general. If you have a bunch of pending lawsuits, especially directly connected to violence, including assaulting an undercover cop, the last thing you should do if you have a working brain in your head is to go communicate threats on the fucking radio. That's just stupid. And I'm not trying to talk shit about game. I'm just speaking in general. There's a lot of you young, stupid, young, dumb, full of cum motherfuckers. And some of you old, retarded ass cornballs will sit up here and hear that and be like, ooh, that's gangster. He's talking that shit. What you fucking coons and buffoons don't realize that people go to jail every fucking day for threatening people. Like, for example, people always track when they threaten me in my comment section. They don't realize it yet. But, you know, there's a bigger plan for that. You can't just sit around and communicate threats to people and not expect to get arrested. You know, I don't understand what makes people think that they could just say whatever the fuck they want and nothing's going to happen. There's handcuffs waiting for you in a nice, cold, dark cell. But the thing about it is this, though. I don't know what makes Game think. I mean, hopefully he was just running his mouth. I hope he wasn't being serious. Because if he thinks he's going to put his hands on Star and Star won't defend himself, that's another thing about you street pussies. Street guys think that nobody will defend themselves against him. Just like he said, when he went to Jimmy Hinchman's office, he knew what the fuck was going on. He had 2 straps on him. You don't have to be from the streets to be strapped. The original people who had guns that created them weren't just street goons and coons. Okay, so all this shit about having straps and equating it to the streets means absolutely nothing. If you break into a 70-year-old white woman's house in the fucking suburbs, she'll shoot you in the fucking face because she feels like she's defending herself. Shooting a motherfucker in the head has nothing to do with being gangster. It has to do with wanting to live. And most people want to live. So all you street cornballs, just remember that the next time you think that you're being gangster by committing an act of violence. A lot of people are violent. Even children are violent. I've heard stories about 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 7 and 8-year-olds shooting somebody with a fucking gun. It takes nothing to do that. You can kill somebody by fucking accident. So just remember that you're not gangster because you can communicate threats or because you can commit an act of violence. And if you go around talking that street shit, you might end up going to jail and getting sodomized or sued or both. But the thing I love about what Star is saying about the whole situation is that Game is small potatoes. This is what he said. He said that he's not even worried about suing the Game. He might press charges against the Game, but he's talking about suing the actual companies. In other words, going after real money, not somebody with $30 million like the Game alleged. That's what I heard he has. I don't know how true that is. Not somebody who has a little $30 million, but somebody who has, let's say, $300 million or a fucking $1 billion. See what I'm saying? He's talking about going to these big corporations. So he's thinking with his head, not with his heart. He's not getting all super emotional with shit. You know, Star didn't get up on the camera and be like, ooh, and I see that ninja the Game. Ooh, it's going to be on, homie. Ooh, and I'm out thug him. And he didn't do all that cornball shit. He just said, look, man, this is what it is. That was respectable. He acted like a man. And I'm telling you all of this because a lot of you young, dumb, full of cum fucking punks watch these videos and you read these blogs and you hear these news stories and shit like that and you think that the streets are cool. So I'm telling you all of this to let you know that the streets are fake. They're whack. The streets are for pussies. The streets are for weirdos. And there's no such thing as a real street dude. Because if you got to go around threatening people on the internet or on the radio or wherever, you're not real. There's absolutely nothing real about going around threatening people. But lawsuits are real. And you can really go to jail for saying some stupid shit like that. So if you want to do something to somebody, shut the fuck up and do it. Otherwise, you're making yourself sound like an asshole. And I know why you young, stupid motherfuckers do stuff like that. Because you want these bald-headed women to be attracted to you. You think if you can, you think that if you can impress Mrs. Bald Spot, Mrs. fucking Potato Head with her snap-on plastic eyes and her fucking snap-on hair hat, you really, really think that you'll be able to hit that. You think you'll be able to cut it up and make some French fries. But I'm just like, watch your fucking mouth. Stop threatening people. Don't communicate threats. You want to do something, motherfucker, go ahead and do it. And then the person that you try to do it to will defend themselves against you. And then if you survive, you'll go to jail all fucked up. Stay out the streets. Grow up. Don't try to be like these rappers. Public service announcement. Why get shot in the head or sued when you don't have to? But this is all my opinion. Let me know what you think about it all below. Be sure to subscribe to the Meat Magazine YouTube channels. Visit meatmagazine.blogspot.com for more. Boom.